Well, this seems good and nasty. The wind's really been going for hours. You know, my normal proclivity to sit in bed and drink more coffee is not helped when it's raining and I know I'm gonna have to pack away everything soaking wet. So these are the Injinjis that I got back at Hostel Around the Bend, and you can see they already have a hole in them and they're worn pretty bad. The durability of these are just crap, which is a shame because the toe sock thing does help sometimes if you get like dust in between the toes. Oh well, so I'm switching to the Darn Tough. I've been having one pair of each for a while. That way when these break, I can just switch to the more reliable ones. So the only real big change I make when I'm packing up in the rain is the tent does not go near the bottom. I normally shove everything inside of a liner bag, and then whatever I'm not going to use till camp, so basically my sleeping layers, my extra clothing layers, you know, minus my hiking insulation layer, and then the tent go at the bottom. Then I put the food, then I put stove, tent essentials, stuff like that on top. Well, tent's going to be wet. I'm not putting that inside the liner. It's not going to get that wet because I have the sleeping pad on top of it anyway. I got all prepped to run out and pack up the tent in the rain, and then it stopped, at least for the moment. Keeps coming and going. Had a brief bit of sun, and now it's just I can see clouds and storms in every direction. Gonna be a fun couple of days. Just ran into a guy coming southbound who was like 400 miles in, and I was just commenting about how the rain had stopped, and then sure enough, here we go. Me getting out of the tent this morning. I'm ready to kick ass and go hike into the Smokies. Me about an hour later. Hey look, coffee and Hot Pockets. Okay, I'm only a little bent out of shape that they didn't have coffee, but oh well. I've got Gatorade and Hot Pockets and Gatorade to charge my phone. Looks like we're doing the Angry Rain God edition of the Smokies. I really expected to find a bunch of people here. Oh, there is somebody home. That is not the worst shelter setup I've ever seen. There's even a power station, but it's charged off solar, so apparently it doesn't do a real good job. That looks like the world's most epic / terrifying water slide. And here we go, Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Been going pretty much straight up since the road. At least the rain's giving me a bit of a break. So humid, nothing's drying out, but at least it's not pouring yet. I decided to skip the lookout tower, sadly, since there's clouds and storms everywhere. I do have a bit of sunshine, at least for the moment. Looking at gut hooks and hearing people talk, apparently there have been multiple issues with bears, which usually means people have been leaving food unattended and the bears got a hold of them and then they started having issues that result in dead bears, so that's a shame. Gotta say, so far, not the biggest difference. I was climbing before, I'm climbing now. Vegetation's changed a little. I mean, when I was down lower, there was all that blooming green. I don't know, I expected the Smokies, see something. Okay, this is Molly's, aka the first shelter. I'm just gonna get water and then push on to the next one. Kind of a whole house here. And more in the way based on what I saw below. So stuff like this wouldn't be bad on the periphery. Looks like everybody is just jammed inside the shelters. Seems like their tents are allergic to water or something. So I was all excited for the area called Devil's Taters Patch because Devil's Tater Patch is like a cool name. But apparently I shot right through it without even noticing. I was thinking maybe there'd be like a whole bunch of little rocks sticking up like taters or I don't know, boob-shaped rocks. But apparently not. It's another little hill like the rest of them out here. Yeah, so a group told me it was kind of busy at this shelter. I guess I would agree with that. Good thing I'm going on, huh? I really don't get it. Both of those last two shelters, I ran up to with a big smile on my face, went, hey, how's it going? And like, was hoping to chat with people and kind of got a cold shoulder. I don't know if they're just all worried that I'm like another hiker coming in and there's not enough space or what. But oh well. Probably better I didn't get stuck at Russell chatting anyway, but not many people. You think at least one or two be a little more friendly, but do I smell that bad? Okay, well, this is the last shelter within easy range, so I gotta find something that'll work here. Okay, finally found a place that wasn't packed.
Last one out, last one in bed, turn off the lights.
So this is the Spencer Field shelter, which has the advantage of both having a privy, being the right distance, and having people that don't give me the cold shoulder when I walk by. It's also a lot less people here. Guess it's because it's 17 miles from Fontana. Beautiful drippy morning. The guy that was camped next to me spent like, I think an hour breaking down camp and leaving around 1:40. And then maybe an hour after that, the thunder and lightning started, so I didn't get very much sleep last night. This is gonna be a rough day. Nothing like coffee, Pop-Tarts, and the espresso cookie I forgot to eat last night. I really gotta figure out a healthier breakfast. I think I got some peanut butter to mix in. You know, it's this sort of bullshit that makes me not want to get out of my tent. So apparently this is what I've been missing as far as privies. Who knew? Fancy. Rain and thunder. Every damn time I'm about to head out. We just got our third overlapping severe thunderstorm warning. We're still holding here for the moment. Okay, waited out the worst of the thunderstorm warnings. Multiple people are taking unplanned zero at that shelter. And honestly, it'd be a lot harder to leave if I hadn't broken down my tent this morning before all hell broke loose. Because I'd be warm in my sleeping bag on my 14th cup of coffee by now. On the plus side, hiking's gonna get me warmed up, hopefully. And those severe thunderstorms that spun up have gone by. So if it's like this for the rest of the day, I'll call it a good day and maybe I can make that second shelter. My options are one shelter in 6 miles, one in 12, or if I make 21 miles, I can get picked up and go into G-Berg. Assuming the pass isn't closed. But yeah, that ain't happening. It's around noon right now, I think. And with the trail flooded, that's gonna slow me down. Thunder's been going off in the vicinity. Hasn't felt dangerous. Normally I'm below vegetation. Otherwise, I would be hunkering. Not about to get myself killed. I got too many miles ahead of me, you know? But yeah, this is not the funnest. You see, this is why I disagree with those people that go on about every day on trail being the best day. Every day on trail is generally a memorable day for one reason or another, but this would not really qualify as the best day. It would take a lot to reach that point. Who needs to hike to a waterfall when you can hike down a waterfall? Okay, that was a rough couple of hours. Lots of rain, some hail, wind. I had thunder and lightning going off right across the top of me while I was going over the ridges back there. So very happy it's died back. There's still the wind, and so I have to keep moving, otherwise it's just too cold. And I really got to fix my rain gear. I mean, I have a new rain jacket coming because I knew this one was split on the inside. Unfortunately, that ended up getting delivered to Standing Bear, so just a little too late. And that rain skirt that I use, you know, I bought it to kind of try out on the PCT. It's never worked well, and I just haven't wasted the money to get a new one, but I really got to get one that can actually repel water. You know, Tyvek, something like that. This Sil nylon just doesn't work. So I did reach the shelter that was 6.5 miles from Spence. I think it's called Derrick Knob, and I had to make a decision. Either stay there and get out of wet layers and get warm quickly, or push on. And since it seemed like the rain was going a little less, I decided to push on. So now I've got a couple of more miles until the next shelter. That one does not have a privy. There is another one that's an additional, I think like 1.7 past that I think I'm gonna aim for, assuming it doesn't get too cold. That one has a privy. This also gets me pretty close to Klingman Dome. I think the dome itself is like 7.4 miles away for that last intersection. That is apparently the high point of the AT at 6,000 some feet. Gotta love them East Coast altitudes, huh? Another guy on the trail back there was just saying forecast was that it is going to be in the 30s in the morning. So if it's raining and in the 30s and the rain's supposed to tail off around noon, I'm gonna hunker. My mistake this morning was actually trying to knock down my tent and going over to the shelter thinking I'd be leaving soon, when I ended up hanging around till noon. I could have been in my tent drinking coffee, as I loudly remarked multiple times while I was chatting with people. So yeah, I'm not gonna screw around with heavy rain, especially while my layers are compromised here. Well, I should say, I'm not going to screw around with any additional heavy rain tomorrow. Another full house. Okay, I'm having to make a decision here. Permit says camp next to the shelter. I could not find anything that was a durable campsite. This is right up above, and sure in hell looks like the only thing I can put a tent on. Everything down there is a puddle, so I'm gonna stay here, and if I'm in trouble, I'm in trouble, I guess. Okay, as you can see, everything's just filthy since I had to break down in the pouring rain this morning. Which, in retrospect, I'm regretting. I should have just hunkered down probably. But it seems like it was a good thing that I waited out those severe thunderstorms. I've heard at the last two shelters that people were struck by lightning, so yeah, this trail stays up on the ridge. I had some flashes and some loud thunder right above me, but didn't have any downstrikes in the real near area. Wow, that was certainly exciting. The wind seems to have died out. It was really going all night. I mean, I basically ate something really quick and then dove into my sleeping bag and did my best to try and stay warm. Everything's been so damp. It took a while to actually, warm up, and the wind was just howling straight over this ridge until, God, I don't even know what time last night. And the rain was coming and going. So it's generally pretty hard to capture the severe storms. When it's raining, it's hard to have the phone out because the lens gets all fogged and the screen doesn't work. And when the thunder and lightning was going, I was book it as quick as I could to get down lower in elevation and get someplace safe. But yesterday was pretty rough, even by my standards. Basically, once the severe thunderstorms passed, I left the shelter, started hiking. There was just a bit of rain that soon turned into a moderate amount of rain. That lasted for a couple hours. I had some really close thunder and lightning up on the ridge. I was lucky that, unlike some people, I didn't have any downstrikes right near me. And then a ways on, after a couple of hours, the rain died back, the wind started really going, and then I got this kind of spattering rain and just brutal wind for hours until I finally got here. Since my layers were a little bit wet, I had to basically keep moving, or I was going to get so cold I was going to need to, stop and get into my sleeping bag, which you're not supposed to do that, except at the shelters out here. Another reason I'm not the biggest fan of the Smokies. I will be very happy once I'm out of here and I can go back to, normal backpacking. Even when I did get my tent set up, basically everything was damp. All my layers had some amount of moisture. Even my sleeping bag, you could kind of see the down was clumping just a little bit just from the humidity and the splatter. Entire inside of the tent is, still kind of damp. Nothing I can do. I'm gonna have to pack it down, and it'll have even more pine needles and things jammed in. At this point, I basically need to get to a water source or a shower where I can spray it off and then dry it. So I'll probably do that at the hotel tonight. So that guy that was camped next to me just came by and we were chatting. Apparently the story with the lightning strike is these two ladies were on that extended ridge section. One had an umbrella. The lightning hit the umbrella, shot down, went into the shoe of this other lady and gave them both some burns. This is my planned resupply day. I am currently debating if I want to get picked up in 4 miles or 10 miles. Normally that wouldn't be doubt at all. I would say, oh yeah, pick me up at 10 miles. That way I can get a half decent day out of it. But, you know, it's calm for the moment, but yesterday kind of beat the crap out of me. So we'll see. I always compare packing up in the rain or when everything is wet to ripping a Band-Aid off or wading through a Florida swamp. You really don't want to do it, but once you do it, it's not that bad. My hoodie was wet enough, I decided to just wear my short sleeve tent sleeping layer and should be doing laundry today. Heard back from Tater, she was able to get me a hotel room down in G-Burg at one of the few places that has a functional laundry. So I just got to make it 10 miles or so and I'll get picked up. Okay, time to enjoy the view from this lovely dome, huh? I didn't have the patience to walk slow. Oh yeah, just gotta absorb the view. Here's what it should look like. I am digging this green, wet forest. Hopefully it continues on like this for a while. So much for the weather getting better. Raining again. Ah, hell. Fortunately, my ride out of here is in a mile and change. Figures. I'm out on the trail. Endless wind, endless rain, lightning, etc., etc. I'm in a structure where I actually have some cover. Then, it's just nice and cloudy. No biggie. So I basically hiked down to mile 207 at Newfound Gap, and somebody was nice enough to come get me and run me into town. So I'm now in Gatlinburg, and this is my resupply, recharge, dry out all the gear, do laundry, and then I'll be back on the trail in the morning. Plus, I found a Dollar General, so there might be hiker wine.